Did you know that surveys show most people fear public speaking more than death itself? Think about that for a second. More than death. That means if you are at a funeral, most people would rather be lying in the coffin than standing at the podium giving the eulogy. Sounds crazy, right? But it is true, and it reveals something deeper about human life. We are terrified of being judged for the way we speak. We fear stumbling over words, freezing mid-sentence, or sounding less intelligent than we are. And because of that, many people stay silent when they should speak up. But let me ask you, how many opportunities have you lost because you couldn't express yourself clearly? How many times did you walk away from a conversation thinking, I wish I had said that better? Maybe it was in a job interview, a school presentation, or even a moment with a loved one where you wanted to express your heart, but the words came out flat. That frustration is painful. It eats at your confidence. It makes you second-guess yourself. Now here's the twist. Becoming articulate is not a gift that only some people are born with. It is a skill, and like any skill, it can be learned, practiced, and mastered. Right now, millions of people around the world are doing exactly that. They are transforming the way they speak, becoming powerful communicators, and unlocking doors they never thought possible. And if they can do it, so can you. So here's my promise. In this journey, I will show you how I became articulate with my speaking, step by step, through failure, practice, and breakthrough moments. You'll hear real stories of people just like you, in Chicago, in New York, in Los Angeles, who turn their voices into tools of influence and connection. And you will see how your own voice, the one you already has, can be sharpened, strengthened, and set free. Stay with me, because by the end of this story, you won't just believe in the possibility of becoming articulate. You will feel it in your bones, and you'll know exactly where to begin. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, because this could be the start of your most powerful transformation yet. The early struggle. I was not born articulate. In fact, when I was younger, I could barely string my thoughts together in front of people. I remember standing in front of my classmates in high school, trying to give a simple 2-minute presentation. My hands shook, my throat felt dry, and my words came out like broken glass. I could see the pity in their eyes, and worse, I could feel my own heart sinking. After that, I promised myself I would avoid speaking in public whenever possible. But life has a funny way of forcing you to face the very thing you fear. When I went to college, I realized that the people who spoke well were the ones who made connections, built networks, and impressed professors. They were remembered, they were respected, and I was invisible. That realization hurt. It made me angry, but it also gave me fuel. I asked myself, why can't I do what they do? Why should my voice feel like a prison? The truth is, most of us don't practice speaking until life pushes us into it. We spend years studying math, science, and history, but no one teaches us how to express our own ideas with clarity. That gap is why so many people, even intelligent ones, struggle when it's time to speak. I was one of them. But I decided not to stay there. The turning point. One evening in Chicago, I visited a bookstore and stumbled upon a dusty old book on communication. The title promised confidence in speaking. I picked it up, half curious, half desperate. That night, as I read, I discovered something life-changing. The book said that the human brain processes spoken words differently than written words. Speaking requires rhythm, pauses, and tone. Writing requires structure. The two are connected, but not the same. Suddenly, I understood why I sounded robotic when I memorized lines. I was trying to speak like a textbook instead of like a human being. That small insight opened the door. The next day, I stood in front of the mirror and practiced saying one simple phrase. Good morning. How are you today? I slowed down, smiled, and listened to how the words rolled off my tongue. It felt silly, but it was the beginning. Story of John in Chicago. Around that same time, I met John, a young man from Chicago who had just lost a big promotion. Why? Because during the final interview, when asked to explain his vision for the company, he froze. He told me later I knew what I wanted to say, but the words just wouldn't come out. His boss told him he was smart but not persuasive. That crushed him. John decided to change. He began small, practicing short conversations with strangers. At coffee shops, he made a point to ask the barista, "How's your day going so far?" At first, it felt awkward, but over weeks, his confidence grew. By the time his next interview came, he walked in, spoke with clarity, and won the role. I'll never forget when he told me, "Speaking clearly gave me my career back." His story became fuel for my own journey. Why being articulate matters. Being articulate is not just about sounding smart. It is about connection. Think about it. When someone speaks clearly, with calm confidence, don't you instantly feel more trust? Don't you lean in to listen? Words are not just sounds. They carry energy, emotion, and influence. Neuroscience tells us that when someone speaks with steady rhythm and clear tone, the listener's brain actually synchronizes with the speaker's brain. That means your voice literally shapes how others think and feel. Isn't that powerful? I began to see speaking not as a performance, but as a bridge between me and another person. Every time I opened my mouth, I had a chance to build that bridge or break it. And that realization gave me courage. Small daily habits. I started practicing small daily habits. Each morning, I read out loud for 5 minutes. It could be anything. A news article, a short story, even a recipe. The point was to hear my own voice and get comfortable with it. I slowed down and paid attention to how certain words felt in my mouth. Words like clarity, confidence, courage. These became my practice words. I also recorded myself on my phone. At first, I hated it. My voice sounded strange and thin. But with time, I noticed patterns. I spoke too fast. I dropped my endings. I mumbled when nervous. By hearing myself, I could fix myself. Slowly, my voice grew stronger. Story of Sarah in New York. During this journey, I met Sarah, a college student in New York. She struggled with English as her second language. She told me, "I know grammar, but when I speak, people don't understand me." Her dream was to join student government, but she feared debates. Together, we practiced simple, short phrases. Instead of trying to speak long, complex sentences, she focused on short, clear ones, like, "I believe this is important," or "I want to add something." Over time, those small wins built her confidence. One day, she gave a speech to over 100 students. Her English was not perfect, but her message was powerful. The room clapped loudly. Later, she said, "I realized people don't need me to be perfect. They need me to be clear." That insight stayed with me. The psychology of fear. Why do we fear speaking? Psychology shows that fear of judgment is hardwired into us. Thousands of years ago, being rejected by the tribe could mean death. Today, rejection won't kill us, but our brain still reacts the same way. Our heart races, palms sweat, and our voice shakes. That is why even smart people stumble. The solution is exposure. The more you speak, the less the fear controls you. Think of it like swimming. You can't learn by reading about water. You must get in. At first it feels scary, then your body adjusts. The same is true with speaking. The power of pauses. One of the greatest lessons I learned was the power of pauses. Early on, I spoke too fast, trying to get everything out before my courage vanished. But fast speech often sounds nervous. Slow speech sounds confident. A pause is not empty space. It is power. When you pause, people lean in. They wait for your next word. That silence becomes your ally. I practiced pausing by reading children's stories out loud. After each sentence, I paused for 2 beats. The boy walked to the park. Pause. He carried a small red ball. Pause. It felt unnatural at first, but soon I realized my words had more weight. Story of Michael in Los Angeles. Michael, a friend from Los Angeles, once told me he wanted to start a side hustle selling handmade furniture. But when he met potential clients, he mumbled and avoided eye contact. He was losing sales not because of his product, but because of his speaking. I told him to practice one clear line. I build custom furniture that turns your house into a home. Simple, direct, and warm. He repeated that line hundreds of times until it rolled off his tongue with ease. Months later, his business grew. He said, I didn't just build furniture, I built confidence with every word. His story reminded me that articulation is not just for speeches. It is for every moment in life, from business to love to friendship. Working smart versus working hard. Here's something important. Many people think they must work hard to improve their speaking. They memorize long speeches, study advanced vocabulary, or push themselves into big presentations before they are ready. But that often backfires. Working smart is different. Smart practice means starting small, repeating often, and focusing on clarity, not perfection. Neuroscience shows the habits form when the brain rewires itself through repetition. That means short, daily practice is more powerful than rare, long practice. So reading out loud for 5 minutes daily will help you more than one long speech every month. Its truth changed my journey. Language learning insights. So for English learners, being articulate has an extra challenge. You may know the words in your mind, but your mouth feels heavy. That is normal. The secret is muscle memory. Your tongue, lips, and throat must learn the dance of English sounds. That is why short daily practice works. For example, practice simple sentences like, I can do this, or this is my time. Repeat them slowly, clearly, and with a smile. These sentences are more than practice. They are affirmations, the emotional breakthrough. There came a night when everything changed. I was invited to share a short story at a community event. I almost said no, but something inside whispered, say yes. My palms were sweaty, my knees weak. But as I stood on that small stage, I remembered my practice. I paused, I breathed, and I began. At first, my voice trembled, but then something magical happened. People leaned in. They smiled. They nodded. For the first time, I felt not fear, but connection. When I finished, the room clapped, and I felt a wave of freedom. That night, I realized speaking is not about me. It is about them. When I shifted my focus to serving others with my words, my fear lost its grip. Deep insight Speaking as service. This is the secret I want you to carry. Speaking is not a performance. It is service. When you speak, you give people clarity, hope, direction, or comfort. You share something that may change their day or their life. That mindset transforms fear into purpose. So whenever you open your mouth, ask yourself, how can my words serve the person in front of me? That question will ground you. Continuing the journey, even now and still learning. Articulation is a journey, not a destination. But today, I can stand in front of people with confidence I never dreamed of. I can speak to strangers, friends, or large audiences without losing my voice. And the best part? I feel free. Free to share, free to connect, free to live without the chains of fear.